How's it going, everybody? It's Planet Fam, and we are back with another FPL live stream. And today, it is the sought after double game week 33, the week that a lot of managers are free hitting this week. Captaincies up in the air, and a whole bunch more. We'll take a look at how my team is looking. I didn't do my transfers last night, so we'll be doing those live on stream for you. We'll take a look at a few tables as we normally do. And we'll keep a bunch of different things open just in case there's any like Twitter news, like randomly or something, like Kane's not starting or something crazy. We always try to keep an eye out on that. As that is being said, I'm going to move Twitter over onto my other monitor just so we have that ready and available. There we go. Yeah, we'll take a look at that, and we'll check out the Fantasy Football Scout members area as well, and my potential plans going forward, and we'll answer your questions as we normally do in the chat. But before we get started, Ash Riaz 00786, thank you for following. Marcus Peterson, thank you for following, and 5X Legion, thank you for following as well. Those were all done while we were offline. But yeah, before we start, let's talk about Fantasy Football Scout. So, Fantasy Football Scout has a fantastic members area. You can check out the link in the About section to get access to the Fantasy Football Scout members area. It's going to help elevate your FPL game. We're going to show you just a sneak peek of what goes on in the members area with a few of the tables that we normally like to consult before every game week. So make sure to check it out. Link is in the About section, over on my Twitter, or in any YouTube description. So without further ado, let's get into it. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How you going? How's it going? Hi, Iwas. How's it going? Hope you are having a fantastic evening, morning, afternoon. So that's the team up on the screen at the moment. We got Ramsdale in goal. Antonio Rudiger currently in the starting lineup, although we have 2 free transfers, so that could potentially change. Ben White, Robertson, Cancelo, Smith-Rowe, who I'm actually happy about this week, Kulusevski, Salah with the vice captaincy, Fernandez is going to be the captain, almost certainly, and we'll check the captaincy table later on in the stream. Dennis, who's currently in the starting lineup but probably won't be, and Weghorst. Ben Gamble says, who do I captain out of Salah, Kane, Saka, Maddison, or Wood? If I had to choose between those captaincy points, I think you kind of have to captain a double game weeker. That's kind of what I like to go for, personally. Very rarely will I find a reason to not captain a double game weeker, unless it's like the best double game weeker is Weghorst playing West Ham and Southampton, and Salah plays anyone that's bottom half of the table at home. You're going to captain Salah, right? What was it? Let me see if I can find. I did it what was it, in 30? Yeah, 31 I captained Salah. When he played Watford at home, and Weghorst had a double that week, so we there are occasions where you don't captain double, and it feels bad because obviously there's been some small doubles, but yeah. Hey, top of the morning to you. You sound asleep. I am. Let's see, what time is it right now? So my alarm went off about a half an hour ago. And I don't think I ended up actually turning over to go to sleep until around 4 hours ago. So yeah, I'm going to be dead on my feet. So any chance you can check my team on Twitter? I tagged you. I can do that if you give me one moment. Okay, so what I'll actually do is I'll actually bring it up on the screen, because I can do that. I have the powers to do that now. There we go. So that's your team up on the screen. Worried about my captain, or should I go -8? So let's take a look at the team. So, I can't remember what chips you said you had though. You have 2 free transfers. Planning on bench boosting at 36 and avoiding too many Newcastle. Who are you going to captain? Okay, so we can look at that. We can certainly look at that. So you got Dubravka in goal, fantastic. Cancelo, Ben White, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Maddison, Son, Kulusevski, Saka with the captaincy, Salah, Tony, and Broja, and you have 2 free transfers. Bench boost 36, free hit 37. Okay. So what can we do with this team? In terms of the starting lineup, I don't think there's anything wrong with the starting lineup at all. I think the starting lineup's perfectly fine. Oh, is that the team with the 2 free transfers? Okay. Okay, fine. Yeah, I think you just keep it, to be honest. If somebody gets benched and doesn't play, I mean, what can you do? There's no reason to take a -4 to not play any one of those players that's currently in your team. That's just my opinion. Looking at that team, I see that there's literally nothing wrong with it. Cancelo came in for Doherty and Maddison was in for Rafinha. Broja is in for Lacazette for a -4 because he might not play. Yeah, I wouldn't do anything else with that team. I would not do anything else with that team at all. I think it's perfectly fine. Yeah. Don't think there's anything wrong with it. Doherty, Rafinha, and Lacazette going for a -4. Yeah. I don't think there's anything wrong with the team. Me personally, if we look at the captaincy table and suggest what the data would show us, so this is our captaincy table. We'll come back to this in a bit, but basically it shows that Saka has been better in terms of expected goal involvement, so he would probably be better than Maddison. But in terms of bad defenses, Southampton's is pretty bad, but typically lock it up after they play like crap, to be honest. And then Chelsea's obviously good, so 1 good fixture, 1 bad fixture in theory. And then Maddison has Everton, who are top half of the table, which is obviously bad. And then they also play Newcastle, who are around the middle of the table as well. So on average, you would say Maddison probably has 2 easier fixtures across both. So I think Maddison or Saka is probably fine. So yeah, that's what I would think. Thoughts on my team? You got De Gea, Schär, Trent, Dyer, Maddison. Oh, excuse me, I'll be yawning a lot, so I apologize for that. Schär, Trent, Dyer, Maddison, Saka, Salah, Kulusevski, Kane, Weghorst, and Wood. I think that team is fine. You got 3 Spurs in there. You got Weghorst, you got Wood, you got Maddison, Saka. Team's fine. As for who your captain would be, again, the data is always going to say Kane, just because of how good Kane has been. Same with Son. I think Salah's a good option, but again, with the double game weeker, you can go with Chris Wood. Although I think that's a much more boring pick. I think that was his first goal. Yeah. Didn't want too many Newcastles. It cost me too many transfers down the road. That's true. Maddison's minutes. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I mean, he's played 90 minutes last three games in a row, or thereabouts. Where's Maddison? There he is. I'm probably going to be bringing him in, to be honest. Yeah, so we look at Maddison's minutes. 88, 90, 90, 90. If he's fit and playing well, he's going to play the full game, in my opinion. Get yourself a Red Bull fan. Funny enough, I'm not the biggest fan of energy drinks. I don't drink coffee at all. I try to drink a lot of water if I can. That kind of keeps me up or gets me awake. Saka more nailed 90 minutes on Thursday. Yeah, you can say that. Also, the data suggests that Saka is doing better at the moment stat-wise. And we can come on to that in detail when we check the captaincy table. Yeah, I think that Saka is... It's just with Arsenal, for some reason, I still have a sneaking suspicion that their slide isn't over yet. I think they're going to lose to Chelsea. I think they might find it tough to score versus Southampton. You know, it could be difficult. Oh, Maddison at 90 minutes on Thursday. Yeah, that's true. And Saka didn't, but sometimes that can help. You know, the high of winning and going to the semis in a European competition, bringing it to the Premier League, things are looking up. You know, or it could just be they went out on the drink or whatever. They went out on the party afterwards and then they're shattered for the weekend. Who knows? So, but yeah, I think Maddison would definitely be the riskier pick for sure. So, but if I had to choose like captaincy options in terms of like ranking, I would probably put Saka as a safer pick over Maddison for sure. Do Leicester have anything to play for in the league? In terms of their positioning, I think they're pretty much going to be where they're going to be. Let's find out. So Leicester are currently in 9th, but they have 3 games in hand. So Leicester can still come 8th. Well, they have 3 games in hand of Wolves. Leicester could still come 7th. Genuinely. Leicester win. If Leicester win, because who do they have left in the season? They have Newcastle and Everton. That's they play this game week. They then have Villa, Spurs, Everton again, Norwich, Watford, Southampton, and then their only real difficult, like their super difficult fixture is Chelsea away. Spurs they could do well versus them, but it's all the smaller teams that they don't do well against. But if Leicester win their 2 games in hand on United, they'll only be 5 points off them, which isn't out of the realms of possibility. Let's say one of those games, United and Leicester both play Chelsea. Let's say they both lose, because Chelsea's probably going to beat them both. And United will lose to Liverpool. Leicester pick up 3 points there. Then there are only 2 points in it. Who knows? Anything's possible. Anything is possible there, to be honest. Top they can get is 7th. Have a game nearly every day, every 4 days upcoming. Andy Martin went through the schedule last night. Yeah, I mean, their schedule is congested-ish, but they can still do it. They're good enough to do it, I think. Like, because the way United's playing right now, like, I expect United to drop more points. Like, I genuinely wouldn't be surprised if United drew or lost to Norwich today, and then got slapped by Liverpool. Like, it would not surprise me in the slightest. As someone who is a United fan and watches them most intently every week, would not be surprised. But you would think that they would handily beat Norwich. You would think. But it ain't out of the realms of possibility because it's Manchester United at the moment. They're not great. So, But yeah, it is a bit of a trickier schedule. But again, when you put it into context that Leicester win their 2 games in hand on United, which are both against Newcastle and Everton, which they should beat. They're within 5. They're 5 points. So anything's possible, like I said. So let's actually take a look at captaincy, because it is a very interesting subject. So I see a lot of people captaining various different players. Let's see what the stats tell us. So these are over the last 4 matches. Kane is obviously top, with, makes the most sense. Son is second in terms of expected goal involvement, but has 6 goals, 1 assist in that time. Son's conversion rate is ridiculous at the moment. He had, for his hat trick, he had 3 shots, 3 on target, 3 goals. That's not going to happen very often. But it can, because Son's that good of a finisher. And Kane's that good of a passer. Then it's Mo Salah, slightly behind Son. Makes the most sense. It's just Salah's conversion is way down since coming back from African Cup of Nations in end of January, start of February. So in terms of the single game week captains, you probably would say in that order: a Spurs asset, then Salah, and then you have De Bruyne sitting there in 5th. Not many managers do have him, but I still think he's a decent enough option. Again, Brighton and Spurs both play the same. Or Brighton plays both Spurs and City this week. They both it's probably the worst double game week you could have, honestly. But yeah, I would say those 4 would probably be my top candidates for a single game week captain. Maybe there's an outside chance for João Cancelo. But just to kind of bank probably the 12-pointer, getting the clean sheet. If he gets an attack and return, cool. If he doesn't, whatever. I would definitely captain the likes of like a João Cancelo over like these bottom guys, like Fabian Schär and St. Maximin, even Chris Wood, to be honest. Broja, Weghorst, I would captain him over those guys. Trent's also an option too, but against United, you never know. So if I was going to go that direction, like in the United-Liverpool game, I would back Salah because it just makes the most sense. I feel Saka has 2 chances over Son. Yeah, sure. I mean, you can. Yeah, he does. And you're right. So the data says Son's doing well, but Son only has 1 game. Saka has 2, right? So basically, Saka, in my opinion, based on the stats here, he is the second best captaincy option this week, apart from Bruno or Ronaldo. I'll put Bruno and Ronaldo kind of in the same category. I would put Bruno slightly above Ronaldo. So you would have Bruno, then Ronaldo just slightly behind him. But I think Ronaldo's even more of a risk because I'm not sure if he actually starts the Liverpool game, right? Because there is a situation where he could, Ranić could set up with Rashford through the middle and Elanga and Sancho wide and Ronaldo's on the bench. Come on. 20 minutes left to go, win the game. If United are still in it. That's possible. So I see Ronaldo as kind of a 1.5 game player, probably. That's just my thinking. Maybe he just does start both, and then cool. But, yeah, so if I had to rank them, because I'm always going to try to favor the double game week player. I think in terms of double game weekers, top 3, I'll do a top 5. Bruno first, then Ronaldo, then Saka, then Maddison, and then any other double game weeker, basically. That would be my top 5. For single game weekers, I would say Kane's first. Son is a very close second. Then I would say it's probably Salah, De Bruyne, and then Cancelo. if I had to rank them in a total order, let's pull out a notepad for this. Pull out the notepad. Yeah, so if I had, so this is a captaincy list. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So if I had to choose the captaincy list, I would say the best captain this week is Bruno Fernandes. I think it just makes the most sense. Next best captain is Ronaldo. Third best captaincy shout would probably be Saka. Fourth would be Kane. Fifth would be Son. Sixth would be Maddison. Seventh would be Salah. Eighth would be KDB. Ninth would be João Cancelo, and then 10th would be like Chris Wood or whatever. That would be my list if I had to guess, or I had to nail it down to a mast. But I have Bruno, and I think he's the best captain, so that's why I've gone with him. Worth a -4 to bring in the defender and then bench Reece James? No, definitely not. Definitely not. I think there's a very likely chance that James does not start in the FA Cup, which means he'll probably start versus Arsenal. Rudiger in for season next week. Think Rudiger, Trent, Cancelo, then solid in the season. James too much of a risk of Rudiger. I think James is miles better, to be honest. I think James is going to be miles better. With them being out of Europe and them only having 2 games in the FA Cup, what is Chelsea going to not play Reece James for the next? Chelsea's just going to not play Reece James. Like, that's not going to happen. Chelsea have 2 games in the FA Cup potentially, one versus Palace and one potentially in the final. They're just gonna Reece James is gonna not he's just not gonna sit the bench the whole rest of the season. He'll play versus United. He'll play probably versus Arsenal. So again, it just depends. Rudiger does tick over game by game, but Reece James can if Reece James is in the same game as Antonio Rudiger, they get a clean sheet, James is going to get more points. That's just how it works. Yeah, I think he probably plays just as much as Rudiger, to be honest, or close to it. If let's say last 8 games of the season, Antonio Rudiger starts all 8, James starts at least 6 of them, if he's fit. I think that's just me. And in those 6, can Reece James, if let's say Rudiger gets a clean sheet in 8 games, that's what, 48 points? My math's correct? Yeah, 48 points. Reece James can get 15 in 1 game. Easily. No problem. So, I think Reece James, I think it's not about necessarily having one or the other. I think it's about having both, to be honest. That's just me. So yeah, let me actually go over to, I'm just going to open up on the side monitor here. James from Planet FPL, he usually has a nice captaincy list on his stream.
Lahan says Rafinha.
And I'm just going to mute that real quick. So his captaincy list is as follows. So he has Bruno at first. He has Ronaldo second. He has Saka third, like I do. He has Salah fourth. Okay. And then he has the Newcastle boys, St. Maximin, Chris Wood. Then he has Maddison. And then he has Kane and Son, and then he has Martinelli. That's his top 10. So basically his first three are the same as mine, but then he has the Spurs boys much lower than the likes of a Salah. So I have Salah slightly further down the pecking order. But I think it's close. Yeah. Yeah, apologies also for the audio coming through as well. But yeah, you should also check out James. If you go ask a question in the chat, he usually answers them one by one, which is actually really, really cool. So far from the FPL Wire, he has initiated his bench boost. So his bench boost team, he has De Gea in goal, Cancelo, Burn, Cher, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Jadon Sancho, Salah with the captaincy, Martinelli, Saka, Broja, and Kane with the vice captaincy. And he has Ramsdale, Kulusevski, Reece James, and Weghorst on his bench. Yeah, probably say that's okay. He took out Doherty, Digne, and Rafinha to bring in Cher, Burn, and Sancho for -4. Interesting. But he also has a wild card as well, so he potentially is looking to move some players on after this week. Right. Not sold on Chelsea assets. I mean, Chelsea are pretty good. Chelsea ain't in third for no reason. But it depends on what you're looking for out of Chelsea. Because Chelsea are going to be a team that are going to probably prioritize defense first, which always lends towards their clean sheet potential, right? And then it's just a matter of, are they going to have games where they attack a lot? Basically. Alonso is on the table, I think. It just seems like he just is going to play, which is just weird. But yeah, Alonso's definitely there. I thought he actually had a decent enough game versus Real Madrid. I mean, nothing too crazy, but then against Southampton, he was obviously brilliant. Prefer City over them and don't really rate their midfielders in FPL, so go for the defenders. Alonso's a shout if he plays. Like, if you wanted to go like super risky, you could just go like triple Chelsea defense. Just go Reece James, Alonso, and Antonio Rudiger. But if you wanted to go super safe, instead of Alonso, you would just get Mendy. And just set and forget Mendy, to be honest. That's what we currently have in our team as well. So we have Mendy, but he's obviously on our bench this week because Ramsdale. Turn off the AC. It's getting a bit cold. Trent, Cancelo, Laporte, Fofana, and Alonso on the wild card. I don't think Fofana is as nailed, but he is a very good bench option, I would say. But I think Alonso's much riskier than James and Antonio Rudiger. If you want consistency, you wouldn't have Alonso, you'd have Rudiger. But like, let's explore around with that option. So this is my current team as it stands for this week. So this is fpl.team, fantastic site. So we'll put in Smith Rowe, we'll put in Rafinha, and that's how the team currently says him. I think Fofana plays every game out this season. I wouldn't be so sure about that. Leicester's defense gets rotated fairly heavily now that they have a decent number of players back. And if they're still in Europe, that is still an issue. I would say for the next couple of weeks, potentially wouldn't be surprised if anyone got benched randomly, right? Gordon and Dewsbury Hall are good for the bench boost and 36 as value enablers. I do. Apart from this week, oh yeah, potentially, yeah, Fofana might play every game. I wouldn't doubt that, maybe. So this week, this is what I'm looking to potentially do. So we would get rid of Watkins. We bring in Che Adams, because I think he's a very good shout. We'll play him over Dennis. We would get rid of Rafinha. And we would bring in James Maddison, because I think if he plays both, he could do really well. Bring him in for Antonio Rudiger. And play that with the 2 free transfers. I toyed around with like bringing in Son for -4, and it just, I consulted some people as well and didn't like it. It was basically Broja, Son, and Cher with a -4 versus this Adams, Maddison, and Robertson, who would be the one that would have to make way. So yeah. Bench booster free hit, which is better for 36 and 37. Bench boost is going to be better for 36 because there's more teams doubling. That's just kind of how it's going to pan out. We would think. This is under the assumption that City beat Liverpool today, and Chelsea beat Palace. Well, actually, if Chelsea lose to Palace, they double in 37. So then it's kind of spread out a little bit, but yeah. So then next week, this is what my team would look like. So we would have we put Mendy back at goal, Ben White drops to the bench, and then we kind of roll with that team. United would have a double, so I'm going to check so there's a little nice, neat little thing. So you can apply scenarios on the FPL team, which is kind of cool. It just introduces. So I'm going to put it if Chelsea win. So you can see that now, United have their double put in place. I have double Chelsea defense. Am I overly excited about that game week? Probably not, to be honest. I don't really care for United assets. And I'm a United fan, so it's not really great in my opinion. So I could easily wildcard. Robertson would go for Trent Alexander-Arnold. And this is under the assumption that City also win and get a double in 36 as well. Smith Rowe would go for Martinelli. Maddison, I would downgrade to Dewsbury Hall. Fernandez would be... I'll just put Gordon for now, just so we can have a boatload of money. And I'll actually move this down so you can see them. Adams would become Pookie, because I think he's a decent double gaming cabinet. Also plays Newcastle in that week. This would be Reece James. This would probably be Laporte, if I can spell that correctly. And Weghorst would be Kane if I can get him. But as it stands, obviously now I'm 0.1 off. So if I were to change that around, instead of Kane, could I go Richarlison and Son maybe? No, I cannot. I gotta find 1 point something million somewhere. I would have to do it instead of Kulusevski. Yes, I would. Unless I had a cheaper... I think I still have to get Kane here somehow. Instead of Laporte, oh, Ramsdale would be down to Foster. That's how I did it. Ramsdale down to Foster. That still gives me 0.6 million. If I didn't want Mendy and I wanted Schmeichel, if I can spell Schmeichel, Dennis would probably stay, to be honest, because of the fact that he has a double. And then Gordon could go up to a 6.4 million midfielder. I ideally want, well, if Laporte becomes Alonso, and then Gordon can become a 6.8 midfielder, so that could be Saka. I ideally would want more City, but this is something I could potentially roll with. So in this week, I would go, Alonso would play over Dewsbury Hall. Reece James would play over... probably Martinelli. Martinelli would be first sub. First time I'm confused why all our captains are rushing for United players considering how poor they've been. It's just because of the Norwich fixture. So if you look at captaincy against, Norwich are worst for XG conceded, attempts in the box, big chances conceded, all that sort of stuff. And then if you look at teams to watch in terms of attacking data, over the last 4 matches, Norwich aren't anything home to write about, to be honest. If you sort it by XG non-penalty, Norwich are even further down. That's basically it. Is that people think that United will keep a clean sheet. I think that they should keep a clean sheet. Whether they do or not is a different story. But that's kind of neither here nor there. I think that United should beat Norwich comfortably. You would think. Liverpool are going to smash them, but you wouldn't be surprised if Bruno randomly got a return in that United lost 5-1 or something. So yeah, in terms of structure, this is probably better. If I went instead of Kane, if I had Richarlison, let's say, as a forward, and then instead of Dewsbury Hall, could I get Son? No, I still can't get Son, even with the slight downgrades. And there's just no other forwards, to be honest. All of them are actually awful. So Richarlison just would be Kane. I would have less City, which is unfortunate. And maybe I can potentially work things out somehow. I don't know how I would do it, but let's say that's the team I rolled with. That would be for the wild card. This is how you play the team there. 35. Again, pretty straightforward. Probably play Martinelli over Pukki, to be honest. Maybe I play Ben Foster versus Burnley at home. Saka would be the captain here. Kane would probably be the vice. And then Saka would probably be captain. Or Salah, sorry, would be captain again. Maybe Joao Cancelo would be the vice captain. Who knows? And then I would have 2 free transfers going into the double. And you would have a team full of double game weekers. So in realistic terms, Schmeichel would play. And the rest of these guys would play, and I would have basically a bench boost of Foster, Pukki, Dennis, and Dewsbury Hall. Not the most exciting, but still, if they all get 2 points, which it seems like they all will, that's still 16 points. That's not terrible, right? On the grand scheme of things. The only thing that I still have an issue with is finding more Man City in this. which is difficult because before with Cucho Hernandez available, if we just go back to the wild card, if we got rid of and Cucho Hernandez was available and he was around like 5.1, 5.2, we could use that extra 0.7 million to go to like a cheaper city midfielder, like a Bernardo Silva, a Gundogan. We would need a little bit more to go to Foden, who would probably be my ideal one. But yeah. We could also easily do Foden. Can we still do the Richarlison thing here? Richarlison, Dewsbury Hall. No, we're still short, but yeah, there's many different things we could do. It's just about, because in an ideal scenario, you want triple Liverpool, triple Chelsea, triple City, double Spurs, and then a bunch of draws on the bench, basically, that hopefully can help you bench boost. That's kind of what you want, if you can get it. But it's easier said than done, or at least that's what you want, as close to that as possible. And then with that setup, with the Alonso, James, and Antonio Rudiger, you have you have the double game week essentially covered. You don't have United though, which some people might seem as bad. But if you have Bruno in position, you can always swap him to Son because Son is cheaper. So that is an option. Let's see what's going on the socials, if there's any updates randomly. FPL Focals put out his free hit team, so he's going with Dubravka, Target, Gabriel, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Jadon Sancho, Bruno Fernandes with the captaincy, Heung-min Son, Saka, Salah, Chris Wood, and Che Adams, and he's got a bunch of cheap players on the bench. Right. Let's see. Alright, nothing really going on there. Right. So, we've taken a look at the captaincy table, and we have the list here. That's what the list, I think. Maybe Salah could be higher. I would say you could probably interchange Salah, Kane, and Son in those positions. Not really much in it, to be honest, but I think most managers are going to go for Fernandes if they're able to get him, and then default to Salah, which I think is perfectly fine. I think that's perfectly fine. So captaincy out of the way. Goals imminent table. So let's take a look at this. So a bunch of players on here that probably won't be involved in goals. The likes of Aubameyang and others on here that are not going to play. Neil Maupay, you're just not going to have him because he's awful and didn't even start the last game. But Bruno's on there, Kane's on there, Salah's on there. 3 very big names this week, which would likely say that, tried to hold that yawn back. That was a bad idea because it made my eyes water. You would think that Bruno has returns in him versus Norwich, which would be nice. Because if Bruno can come out of the Norwich game with, like a double-digit hole of some kind, that would be great. Because then you would go into the Liverpool game saying, I don't expect anything. If he gets anything, cool. That would be ideal, right? Something to keep an eye on there. and see how this kind of unfolds. So data's showing that Salah, Kane, and Bruno should all be hitting sometime soon. Kane's been a bit somewhat unfortunate. And his XG non-penalty is actually 2.65, so Kane's definitely due a goal, for sure. He's been doing a lot of assisting recently. In terms of how good is your team's attack? Well, Spurs have been absolutely smashing it, literally. They are top of XG non-penalty. 14 goals in that time. Really, really good. City's up there. Chelsea's up there. Again, the stats are undeniable for Chelsea, to be honest. Very, very undeniable. So we may see their assets as, do we really want to go there? But Mason Mount, Kai Havertz, even potentially could Timo Werner be our problem solver, as it were. So let's say how if we had a situation where instead of Richarlison we went Timo Werner. Let's say we would get rid of Alonso. Let's say we went for I'll just do Ben White just because he's a cheaper defender. Kucha would have to come up to Dennis. Let's say this is on a bench boost team. And then if we did Foden up to Son, we could do that. That would be good. And then could we go, so we have, I have to see if I can squeeze more money out of this team. Because ideally that last spot, instead of Ben White, we would go with a City defender like Laporte. So we could, if we wanted to, do this spot as Laporte. So it's basically Ben White and Kulusevski versus Laporte and let's say like a Gordon. I think Kulusevski is just so good that it's hard to ignore, though. We would then have 0.9 million elsewhere to spend if we really wanted to. Which, could that get us anything anywhere realistically? Schmeichel bring us up to 5.8 goalkeeper, so we can go Martinez if we wanted to. I don't think that's ideal. How much is Kulusevski? So Kulusevski 6.4. It bugged out. But basically this spot would be this second Gordon spot would be Kulusevski. Yeah. So let me reset this. And I can do it real quick. So this would be, so that's Foster, Laporte, Dewsbury Hall, Son, Gordon, Werner. It's if we want to go Timo Werner. Let's say he keeps up his form or something. Not Dennis. Pookie. James. I have too many players from Chelsea. Oh, right. Mendy needs to go to Schmeichel. And then Robertson is Alexander-Arnold. So the team would look something like that. Maybe we like Captain Reece James or something. Go with something like that. But I'd probably put Dewsbury Hall probably ahead of the pack there. That'd be a wild card team. We would then go into the next game. Don't need to do anything. Probably put Dennis for a sub. Do I play Dennis versus Burnley at home or Pookie away to Aston Villa? Probably Dennis versus Burnley, maybe. Salah would be the captain. Son probably with the vice captaincy. Probably Ben Foster in for Schmeichel. And then we can adjust the team. And again, this is on the assumption that City would have a double as well. And I think the team's not half bad. You'd have Gordon, Dewsbury Hall, Pookie, and Schmeichel as your bench enablers as well. So that's a team that you could just. I mean, I would put Foster in over Schmeichel. Or Schmeichel in over Foster, rather. And basically, the difference with that team is that you have Werner and Son instead of. I think it's would be Kane and Kulusevski. Or no, I'm sorry, Kane and Martinelli. It's actually a tough call, to be honest. And then your defense would be you could get Laporte instead. If you can't get Laporte, if it's it doesn't work out that way, instead of Laporte you could have Matip or somebody like that too. So that is a possibility. But there's less than 10 minutes on the deadline stream. So I'm gonna make my transfers. So if we looked at all the captaincy stats tables, actually Che Adams was quite high on that list. So I think Che Adams is probably our best bet for potential captain or potential options up front. I think he's better than Broja. And I think Che Adams is performing better and has played, quite heavily. I think he's been better. I think he's better overall stats-wise than the likes of a Wood or St. Maximin. And has potentially a difficult game versus Arsenal. But again, Arsenal haven't looked the greatest. And then Burnley, new manager, who knows what's going to happen there. I think Burnley could be destined for something not great. And then the other change is going to be Rafinha out for Maddison. Those are the two changes that I'm going to go with. Make it nice and easy. These are the transfers for this week. So yeah, Rafinha out for Maddison. Watkins out for Adams. Confirm. Put in James Maddison over Antonio Rudiger. Put in Adams over Dennis. Can I get all of my red players in the same spot? Let's see. How do we do that? So Dennis Maddison, where does Maddison go? Okay, Maddison goes there. So we want Maddison to be at the end. Okay, so we want Smith Rowe first. Then we want Bruno. Then we want Salah. Then we want Kulusevski. And then we want Maddison. There we go. Do I want Dennis over Rudiger? Probably not. Fernandes will be the captain, and Salah will be just kind of the safety vice captaincy there. Last minute, who should I captain, Wood or Kane? If you had to choose between those two, I would pick Kane, to be honest. But that's just me. I don't think the upside of that the double game week is that high to where Chris Wood's gonna go absolutely crazy. But I think Kane could do really well versus Brighton. But again, they are the first team out the gate. Having Kane in your team probably means that you're fine. So if you want to go a little bit on the risky side, roll the dice, have a little bit of fun, go with Chris Wood. If you want to just play it safe, go with Kane. That would be my suggestion. Me personally, I think Kane's a better captaincy option than Chris Wood this week. just because he's been really good. But he also does play the first game of the week, and if he does blank, you're gonna not be too happy for the rest of the double game week. So probably Chris Wood's the more fun option, and I like to err on the side of the fun option as well. So I would go with Chris Wood. But I do have this list where I think Kane is the fourth best option. Again, the likes of Planet FPL, he has the list to where it's like this. These guys are down here. Salah's here. And then like Chris Wood is like here. Something like that. Ignore the numbers. So this is what Planet FPL's list was, or something of that nature, basically. These guys weren't on the list. But yeah, I think if you want to have a bit more fun, go with Chris Wood. That's just my opinion. Let me just double check on Twitter if there's anything interesting. I believe Mark Southerns has tweeted out his team. So he says, in the end, I'm just using free transfers to get in Bruno and Cancelo and shelved the free hit. He says, likely a mistake, but I didn't love my free hit configurations over this. We'll now use the chip to seek out some differentials in another game week, I guess. Good luck all. So he brought in Bruno Fernandes and he brought in João Cancelo. I believe that was for his injured Doherty and somebody else he had in his team. Can't remember what his team was. Let me see if I can find his team. So he got rid of Doherty and Coutinho. So he must have a lot of money in the bank. Anyway, so his team is... oh no, he didn't get rid of Coutinho. Who did he get rid of? Oh, he got rid of Salah. I see. So yeah, he took out Salah for Fernandes captain, and he took out Doherty for Cancelo this week. So his team is as follows. He's got Nick Pope in goal, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Robertson. So he took out Salah, but he has Trent and Robertson to kind of cover that. I think that makes sense. Fabian Schär, João Cancelo, Fernandes with captaincy, Bukayo Saka, Kulusevski, Kane with the vice captaincy, Weghorst, Broja, and then on the bench a bunch of blanks with Saiss, Podence, and Coutinho. Blank is in their fixture, and Ben Foster as the backup goalkeeper. So he has one playing player, and that's just a goalkeeper on the bench. Everyone else is on the field. I think the team's perfectly fine. FPL Salah has put his team up, his free hit team. He's got Ramsdale in goal, Gabriel, Target, Schär, Salah, Captain Fernandes, Ward-Prowse, Saka, Jadon Sancho, Chris Wood, Ronaldo with the vice captaincy, with Jakupovic, Amarte, Benderek, and Richardson on the bench. So he's going with a free hit team there. Very, very interesting indeed. Very, very interesting indeed. FPL Pig's got his team locked in. He's got Ramsdale in goal, Cancelo, Reece James, Fabian Schär, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Bruno Fernandes, Saka, Barnes, Ronaldo with the captaincy, Armando Broja, Chris Wood, and Sanchez, Gordon, Doherty, and Rafinha on his bench. Very, very interesting stuff. A lot of teams are getting locked in. As was the very controversial one last or yesterday. He's gone with Dubravka, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Cancelo, Robertson, Captain Bruno Guimaraes, which is very interesting. Barnes, Saka, Kulusevski, Salah, Kane, and Adams with Ramsdale, Roberts, Amarte, and Hwang on the bench. Also, I think the deadline has passed as well, so hopefully you have your teams your team locked in. And yep, there we go. Broya captain, what can go wrong? A lot of things. Captaincy can go wrong for anything, to be honest. But yeah, double game week captaincy, I like it a lot, personally. It's definitely wide open. Anything can happen this week for the captaincy. But yeah, deadline is passed. Hopefully you had your teams all locked in, and everything is all good to go. But before we sign off, let's talk about Fantasy Football Scout one more time. So, Fantasy Football Scout is a fantastic members area. It's going to help elevate your FPL game. We saw some of the tables and we used them today to make some informed decisions, like Adams being higher up on the table than most other picks. So I really liked him, so I went with him. And same with James Maddison was doing well, so I brought him in as well. So, and I already had triple Arsenal, so I couldn't bring in Saka, and I thought Maddison was the next best thing. So we've gone ahead and done that. Also, the captaincy table also showed us that Bruno Fernandes was top of the double game weekers there, so we went with him as well. Back in the data this week. So yeah, Fantasy Football Scout's going to help you make informed decisions, and could be right sometimes, right wrong times, but it gives you more information, and more information can never be a bad thing if you apply it correctly. So yeah, Fantasy Football Scout, check them out in the About section if you're here on Twitch, where we do all our live streams, or check it in the About, in the description, rather, if you're watching this over on YouTube, or you can check the link in my bio as well. So now, let's move over to the big screen. So that's it, Game Week 33 in the books for the deadline stream. On the preview stream next week, I could be on a potential wild card. I could be hitting the wild card button as early as Sunday night. So we shall see. Have to wait and see how those games go. If City win today versus Liverpool, I'm almost certainly going to hit the wild card button straight away, because City winning means that they have a double in 36, and I want to be involved in that. And I don't really care about Chelsea, to be honest. But yeah, we shall see. Or I could just make the transfers and certainly wildcard anyway. We'll see. But could be on a wildcard next stream. So be on the lookout for that, with the bench boost shortly to follow. But make sure to like, favorite, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. PilotFlame226 on all platforms, Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. And until the next one, take care.